After completing the treble this year, Manchester City has become the team to beat in the world. If your team is in England, the two Manchester City games are the ones that you regret going into. And if you're a fan of a football team in Europe, Manchester City is the last team that you want to go against in any football competition in Europe. But how did they come to this point? How did Manchester City become the team that conquered football? Hello everyone, this is Kiro from Football Chronology, and let's dive in on how Manchester City became the team to beat in Europe and in the world. So I want to take you back to 2016 when Baldy Genius over here joined the Man City squad. Pep Guardiola took over Manchester City as a manager in the start of the 2016-2017 season, following Manuel Pellegrini. And before Pep, the club's performance was, well, average. The team finished in the top 4 only 4 times in the previous 10 seasons. Despite winning the league twice out of these 4 times, their success in Europe was, for the lack of a better word, trash. They exited the Europa League in the round of 16 stage in 2 years in a row, 2011 and 2012 respectively. And their Champions League runs weren't any better either. They dropped out of the group stage in the Champions League and the round of 16 on multiple occasions. And their most notable season was reaching the semifinals in 2015-2016 season, before losing to who else but Real Madrid, arguably the best team in Champions League history. At that time, of course, the team had its fair share of stars, but they were lacking in so many other positions. They had stars in the likes of Aguero, Yaya Toure, Vincent Kompany, and a young talent by the name of Kevin De Bruyne. But other than that, the team needed some serious help on most positions. And that's what Pep Guardiola and management understood from the beginning. So they wasted no time in the transfer market to strengthen the squad. Pep wanted to build a more dynamic team, a team that could execute his vision and his style of play of tiki-taka that he invented in Barcelona and carried on to Bayern Munich and where he went. He didn't want just big-name players, but rather players that he can mold into greatness by playing his own way. So in the 2016-2017 season transfer market, they brought in some good gems at many positions. Starting off with John Stones at center back, Leroy Sané at the right wing, Gabriel Jesus at center forward, and Ilkay Gundogan in the midfield, just in that year. Of course, the club will continue to add on more talent to their already impressive team in the years to follow, in the likes of Kyle Walker, Benjamin Mendy, Bernardo Silva, Ederson, Riyad Mahrez, Rodri, Joao Cancelo, Ruben Diaz, Nathan Ake, and it goes to show that this management believes in that team. And that's what every successful team needs. A management that believes and invests in the team to be successful, to bring on more talent, to challenge in every competition. With these players, along with the master tactics of Pep Guardiola, Man City had ushered in the new era that will see them gradually rise in the ranks and become a dominant force in years to come. Needless to say, Man City never left the top 4 of the Premier League ever since, and started dominating in the Premier League as well as in Europe, and has since lifted the trophy 5 times out of the 6 seasons in the Premier League, in addition to the newly founding success in Europe as well, reaching the quarterfinals 3 times, the semifinals once, and the finals twice, and of course winning it this season. And of course it wouldn't be a Manchester City video without talking about the man himself, Pep Guardiola and his tactics. And before I dive in, I want to mention that, yes, this guy is a genius. There, I said it, coming from a freaking Arsenal fan. Not to mention, we dominated the league for 248 days. Okay, this is the longest streak ever. And the biggest battle tab in history of the Premier League. But carry on. Okay, where was I? Yes, Pep Guardiola. Sure, you can say that Pep always had his fair share of great players that could carry out his thoughts on the pitch, but you cannot deny how this man can just break teams and exploit their weaknesses like no other. because clearly we know that no talent alone without any tactics can win the Premier League or actually do good. Chelsea. Sorry, I had something in my throat there. And just like the team, Pep himself is also improving. When he started off with Man City, he wanted to instill in them the way he wants to play. You know, the tiki-takas, the building plays from the back, something that they never have done before. And as the team progresses and learned these ways, and other teams also learned how to defend against them, Pep also found himself changing his tactics to accommodate the always pressures that these teams have put on them. So he moved away from his current philosophies and started improving and implementing different types of plays, different styles of plays. Saw him continually dominate the Premier League. A big example of that is this season. He started off this season with his normal 4-3-3, playing just like last year. But when he saw that other teams could read his style of plays a lot better now because they have been playing against him for the past few years, he changed a little. So in the second half of the season, he changed the team's formation to use 4 center backs, with John Stones acting like a defensive midfielder. When the team needs to control the ball, Stones would advance forward and join the midfield, creating numbers in the midfield and advancing the ball. And when the team needs to break the pressure, Stones would join the defense and make it 4 in the back, with Gundogan and De Bruyne providing options in the middle, along with wingers Bernardo Silva and Jack Grealish getting one-on-one situations and feeding the ball into the middle to Haaland. This shift proved to be very solid as it created enormous amounts of pressure on the opponents and gave Man City multiple attacking options on the pitch. If it's not in the middle, it's going to be on the wings with Jack Grealish and Bernardo Silva going in for crosses. All of these tactical changes proved very effective against dominant teams that can control the ball and against teams that could play one-on-one and good defense. The last thing I want to touch on is how players improve in the Man City squad. Pep Guardiola doesn't just put tactics in, he also improves players. He makes players more dynamic, play in different positions, do more on the pitch, create different chances in different ways. If you're a winger, you could play striker. If you're a striker, you could play midfield. And if you can't handle all of that, you will be out of the squad soon. All in all, Pep Guardiola likes his players to be more dynamic, more diverse in their style of play. So when they move positions, they can play as much in their secondary role as their primary. And that's what he works on with these young players when they first join. As far as Pep Guardiola stands, if you're a midfielder, you will be able to play all of the midfielder positions. And if you're an attacking player, you should be able to play all of the attacking positions. On the left wing, center forward, or on the right wing. This dynamic style of play will enable them to quickly change up the way they play as the opponent progresses and pressure, which will give them more options to exploit the weaknesses of the opponent formations if they ever change it in a match. All in all, Manchester City's current form didn't just show up. It has been a product of smart recruiting, of influx talent through the years, with big investments in the team's success and a brilliant tactics by arguably the best coach in modern football today. Teams that want to be successful need to take Man City as a model of how a successful football team should be. And I'm pretty sure teams around Europe now are slapping Manchester City logo on the board and saying, how can we build this team? Or how can we build a team that can defeat this team? Anyways, that's all for me today. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Let me know in the comment section what you think of Man City as a club. Let me know your thoughts about the current Manchester City season and the current Manchester City team, and how can you beat Manchester City. If you liked the video, please like it, share it. Also, let me know what you want me to talk about next. And all in all, I hope everyone have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.